All right, I've hit record. I will lord over you in this tall chair.
I have mine going too, just as just in case.
Awesome.
So,
awesome.
Again, thank you so much for being here and coming out. It's how are you enjoying the convention so far?
Oh, very much. Yeah, it's been very busy actually.
Do you like meeting with the fans and all that?
I do. Yeah, every day I get some highlight stories that are really fascinating and interesting, or I meet some people who are very excited to be there, and I know I've made their weekend. So,
that's us.
That's awesome.
Us.
And the timing.
You're looking at it.
Well, and for this convention, it's perfect. It's like the game just came out, so you're still fresh on everyone's minds. They're all still playing it. It's so exciting.
It is. This is my first convention after the game release. So
yeah.
I'm now getting all the Tears of the Kingdom stuff coming at me, and it's fun. It's like
that's so
great. You're still playing it.
Me, I haven't actually opened Tears of the Kingdom yet. It's sitting on my counter. And I'm just staring at it. I'm like, that's funny. Yeah.
That's so funny because it's such it's beautiful and moving, and you do a great job in it. So it's just funny to me that, of course, you lived in it. You're living in it now, right? So
playing it it's only downhill from there.
Yeah. It's true. That's going to be me listening back to this. Don't worry.
Well, let's say, I'm sure from your perspective, playing the game for the first time must be an experience. Because do you know the full scope of the story, or just kind of what you yourself recorded, or
what I recorded, which does have it alludes to a lot of other elements of story because she is quite in there. But we work with the stuff that we're given, which is the stuff that we need to know to do a good performance, and everything is generally very secretive for good reasons.
Right.
Not everybody should have access to that, because if one person leaks it,
right.
Hopefully they can trust us, right? But you never know.
Sure.
You never know
you really don't know. Well, I guess we'll just we have a couple of questions prepared that we'll jump in.
I thought we already started.
I know we have, but we've gone off book already. So.
What was it like sliding into the role again? Because this is your third time playing Princess Zelda. How was that experience, and what was kind of your impressions in that?
I felt like coming into it for a third time has been... It's funny, the word relief came up several times for me, because I've spent so much time living with this character and representing this character for other people, and you just sort of carry around a big character in your head like that for years. And then to actually go back in and actually revisit it in a concrete way with a team and a script, and you can actually get back into the acting chops of it has been so satisfying. It's been only awesome. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's felt like the best. And in terms of what I prefer, people ask me often at the table, they're like, which game do you prefer doing? And I'm like, well, it started with Breath of the Wild, so that's where everything comes from. But ultimately, in the end, right now, I'm really preferring being on the other side of a third game, because it's just, I don't know, there's something so deeply rewarding about coming back in for a third time and doing it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is now your third time doing this. Can you just sort of talk a little bit about if your approach to the character has changed, or if this was just sort of felt like a homecoming, or how it felt?
A homecoming. It does feel like a homecoming. Without going into too many details, because I'm not to speak of the process of everything too much.
Sure.
But I do feel that there is a kind of natural evolution, both with time and age, and coming into wisdom, and just everything that occurs with the character that then gets to evolve over a series of games. It has some kind of, say, linear. It has some sort of timeline to it naturally.
Yeah.
And then also there's the aspect of having lived through a pandemic with everybody, and so I don't know, bringing that to all characters that I do, but definitely Zelda as well. And just sort of where it started from a first game with no information, and where it's gone to a third game with lots of information, background context, both in the fictional world and in real life. It's just it's fascinating, the layers that are, and very pleasing to be able to have that as part of the process or whatever.
Well, absolutely. So, when you first read this, they brought the script to you, your first time seeing it, how did you feel with the direction that they took, Zelda as a, well, I guess that's just, how did you feel about the direction that they had taken with it?
Oh, well, I mean, I sort of got it in chunks as we're going along, and, when certain things came up that I was like, I mean, I did some silent squealing because it was so exciting to see what we were going to record.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is really, it's going all the way in. It's really deep storytelling. So.
It really, really is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's such a departure in many ways from Breath of the Wild, just in terms of the storytelling. And I mean, there were moments in Tears of the Kingdom where I was like, Nintendo wouldn't do that. There's no way they would do that. And boy, did they.
Well, I think just the way they wrote the script is just so smart, because it's like, the players aren't going to be getting it sequentially. They're going to be getting the end, the beginning. It's going to be all over the place. So being able to write that script in such a way that it can, do that is, I think, really impressive.
Isn't it fascinating? I actually find the way that they do classic storytelling, and all the elements of it are like they are classic storytelling, down to the things that are in the game, the symbols that are in the game, particularly this one, without saying what they are, but they're like, it's so, it's something that we understand already universally as like what is being faced, and yet where they decide to be innovative with it is a really interesting calculation that they've been able to make that has done so well, and you're like, how did they do that? How did they put those things together in that way? It's really cool.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, it's wild. My playthrough, I was like, started getting things out of order, and I was like, it was like I was like piecing together everything with the red string, like, wait a minute,
I like to think that you had a big map on your wall, and you were like, making all these, like,
exactly what it felt like.
I'm gonna say Pelican Brief, but that's probably not the movie. Born Identity.
Yeah, or the meme of Charlie Day with the red string is kind of that's how I felt.
They still Sylvia, put it all together. So without going too much into the spoiler territory, how was it? Because, in this game we kind of got to see like a darker side of the princess.
Again, surprising and very fun. And I already feel like Breath of the Wild, Zelda sort of was a darker, more nuanced version of Zelda in general. Like they decided to flesh out that part of her. She had cynicism to her. She had, jealousies, insecurities that you were able to actually, witness in the cutscenes. And yes, to take it here, where they've taken it in the sequel, without saying what that is, I go as somebody who really loves, and anytime I get a chance to exercise my acting chops in that sense, is like, it was super cool. I was like, ooh, how are we going to tackle this? This is going to be really interesting. There were some calculations to make in terms of like what range that would require. But also they're always pretty clear about what they need and want, and they've done all the thinking through. So I can be like, pose a question, and I'll get usually a very like thought through answer that's been, oiled and massaged by several people. So
that's really interesting. In the past, you've talked a little bit about how it's sort of a siloed kind of experience where you're not directly working with some of the other voice actors. Was it sort of similar for this?
It always is. You never have other, for this kind of thing, which is a dub and a localized dub like that. It's when I speak of the people I'm working with, it's really the team. It's like, the director, possibly director, casting director, depending on that game, and then writer and some producer, like all the people that are in charge of the creative story, maybe sitting in on a session and weighing in while the session is going. But in general, it's also nice to have such a team that is, they all weigh in, and you do get an understanding, like in the moment, what might be working or not working. So it's taken care of pretty quickly. We're massaged in the room. I'm like trying to like dodge around. I'm like,
no, you're perfectly okay.
I'm sure
you've seen like I get like one thing wrong sometimes on an interview. They clickbait it, and they put, not that you guys are going to do that.
No.
Yeah, well, I know you kind of had an experience like that in the past when you were talking about the relationship between Link and Zelda, and they kind of took it out of context.
They took it way out of context. It was completely not what I meant.
Well, because they want the headline.
They wanted the headline. They knew better, and they did it anyway. And then everybody picked it up. It was a nightmare.
And for the record, we didn't do that. So.
I know you didn't do that, which is why we're talking today. If you had, I'd be like, I don't know.
No. It's nothing but respect and honestly admiration for being able to navigate this process. I'm sure it's not easy.
You want to think that it's okay and it doesn't matter, but it does.
It does
matters
matter.
a lot.
Right.
Yeah, it's a funny thing. It's funny where it matters and where it doesn't. But.
Right.
Yeah. Well, and with that, is there anything you want to kind of clear up about?
I feel like I still have the my statement like posted to my Twitter in case anybody has any questions about it, and people still don't look there, and they'll still ask me in the questions like, I heard that you think that, and I'm just like,
oh no,
look at my statement, it's pinned to my Twitter. It's as clear as day. Relationships are ambiguous, you can bring what you want to it. That's the beauty of it. I've never implied anything other than that.
Totally.
And then sometimes in these interviews I talk about myself and my idea of relationships, which I think got a little confusing in that interview. But anyway.
No,
well, I understand that because, like, with Link being like the silent protagonist, it's like it's upon the player to kind of project a little bit of themselves onto it, and so the relationship can be whatever the player like makes of it. You know, I mean,
totally, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's up in the air. You know, it's up for. Whatever the player decides, I guess,
Up for I want to find a pun, but I'm not going to find one. Up for grabs, up for... can't find one.
There's got to be a Zelda pun in there somewhere.
With it later.
Well, here's a
Not yet. It hasn't come up.
Not yet.
What a cup. Okay.
Here's a fun fan question that you can answer if you want or not. It's just if you, because I know that you've played, other Zelda games and things like that. If you could have voiced Zelda in any other game, like if there's one that you're...
Somebody asked me that in the panel.
Oh, really?
And I was like, I don't usually get asked that. It's so fascinating. And I said Twilight Princess Zelda. I was like, that's what I'm feeling right now. And I think it's also because I also write in Hylian, in Twilight Princess Hylian. So I'm like, I feel more of an affinity with that game. I think about that game probably the most.
What do you mean you write in Hylian?
I write in the Hylian, the Twilight Princess Hylian script. So it's like glorified calligraphy, but it's letter to letter, and it's very beautiful. And it's like you can find it online.
I didn't know that. I know about your music, and you were just in Montreal at the Fringe.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
How was that? Was it?
It was great. We got rained out, but people still showed up, and it was like they under tents in their rain jackets, and we sang and some water poured on the keyboard. It was not really...
Okay, never mind. I was going to say that might work for some of the music.
Like, it actually did. We have a song called The Rain and the Robin. We have a few songs that we reference rain, and so we were like, you know what?
Let's just roll with it.
Yeah, there's something very peaceful about singing in the rain.
Oh, that was another pun. Accidental. Yeah. Well, I didn't know that you did this Hylian calligraphy, so that's fun. That's fun.
So since you've voiced this character, how deep have you dove into like the series as a whole? You played all the other ones, or just some?
I've not played the other ones. I've not played Majora's Mask. Because I've watched Wind Waker. I haven't played Wind Waker. There's several I haven't played. The ones I have played are like the original Ocarina of Time, Twilight Princess, Breath of the Wild. And I plan to play some Tears of the Kingdom. I'm not going to try to beat them. I just don't have time. I can't go into the vortex.
Just play enough to kind of get a feel for it and experience it a little bit. I understand that.
There's so many Zelda games.
There
to
are,
play.
yeah.
I mean, it's like 30 years or something now.
36, I think. Is it 36?
Something like that.
It came out in 1986. I think is the first one.
Pushing it, so it's
36 or even 37.
That's a long history to get through. On your schedule, I'm sure that's it.
I'm sure that we will wrap. I guess the last question is, if there's anything you want to, I don't know, is there anything coming up that you, of course, musically or anything that you, creatively, anything for you personally that you are looking forward to or want to or can talk about? We, would love to hear it.
I'm looking forward to doing more shows with our band because we just released an album a month ago, and that was really lovely. And we just got the vinyls a couple weeks ago.
Oh, I saw them out there when we were lurking to
they're
set
really
up.
Off-brand from everything else.
They're cool.
But it's a sculpture of a woman. It's an image of a sculpture of a woman that's like this big. This little
That's what that is.
Yeah, it's a Montreal-based artist, and she just does riveting work. And we're like, it's super interesting, but we're gonna put that on our cover, and we love it so much. So
that's awesome.
But so there's that, and I am working on some other games, and I'm developing a screenplay as well that should have a reading for it soon. It takes place in Upper Michigan, where I'm from.
Oh, okay.
And I've been researching. Actually, I can't talk about the screenplay too much because it'd be like.
No.
But
don't tell us.
Essentially, researching deer, which is a really big thing in my family. Is kind of really outdoorsy family, so. That's been something that's been really fun. I've had an excuse to research some outdoor subjects that I enjoy.
Wonderful.
For that screenplay.
Oh, that's great. Writing is incredibly difficult.
Right.
I'm also doing things like that. So it's just I feel for you. My friends who
kind
are
of thankless, but also the best thing
it
in the
is.
world.
It's like
Right?
you just
It's so rewarding. Yep.
it's ascending, into another plane of being, but it's also just like so you're clawing your way to the end, So respect for that.
Kudos to you too.
Yeah.
I understand.
Well, thank you so much for your time. This was honestly an honor and a pleasure. So
wonderful opportunity.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, and thank you for Andy and Allison. Say hello again.
Awesome. Please give them a big hello back.
Yes, I listened to that interview again recently, and it's just such a joy to hear you all talk. So
What I did during the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I think so, because all of you are like current events notwithstanding. I think it is. I think that's what it is.
Weird time. I don't even know what I said on the interview. But I think
Yeah.
it was like reasonable.
No, it was lovely. So
Dark pandemic times. Like, hi.
I know, right? All of us. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Here, I'll turn this off.
Hey everyone! If you enjoyed this clip and want to see more of the Zelda Cast, make sure to head over to your favorite podcast platform of choice and subscribe. There are over 200 episodes in the vault that will provide you with hundreds of hours of Zelda content for you to enjoy. You can listen to us when you're on a walk, fighting Ganon, trying to sleep, whatever. And if you want to see these shows as they happen, make sure to head over to twitch.tv/the Zelda Cast, where you can watch our beautiful faces talk about Zelda every single week. Don't miss out, and we'll see you next time.